Welcome to the Travel Business Unpacked, where we break down what it takes to build a thriving travel business. Here's your host, co-founder of Gifted Travel Network and best-selling author, Meredith Calloway.
Hello, and welcome to the Travel Business Unpacked podcast. I am your host, Meredith Calloway, and on today's episode, we have a returning guest, John Rees of J5 Travel. He is one of the original Travel MBA alums, one of the very first to go through our Travel MBA program many, many years ago. He is a repeat Top Producer Club member. He often tops our lists at GTN, and his agency was recently named a Virtuoso Cruise icon, which I think is super exciting. So welcome back to the podcast, John Rees.
Thank you. It's lovely to be back.
And also, John is a main character in the book, The Seven-Figure Travel Entrepreneur. He's the opening of the book.
I was stunned to read that. I really was. Yeah.
Not stunned at all. I love it. So the last time we had you on the podcast was one of our first episodes, I believe. And it was really just about your journey of leaving the finance world where you were a day trader and you were somewhat miserable
Mm-hmm.
and eventually took a very similar leap of faith that I took, which was to just leave that behind and start a travel business. But lucky for you, we had created the Travel MBA program, so you actually had a path to fall right into. You have now been a successful travel entrepreneur for, is it 10 years now?
It's 11.
Wow.
Yeah, almost to the day. Yeah.
It's 11 years. When you look back at that journey, what would you tell the John Rees from 15 years ago?
I'm generally pretty happy with the journey. And even though it's been a real roller coaster for several reasons, but I would be more on top of the numbers from an earlier stage rather than just, it'll work. Even though I spent all my previous career in the financial industry, I ended up being not very good at running my own numbers. So I would
I
get
can relate.
tighter on those at an earlier stage.
Yeah.
Apart from that, it's been the best journey of my life. I mean, it really has.
Well, let's unpack that. What has made it the best journey of your life? What would you say you're most proud of?
Well, one, I'm fulfilling my love for travel by projecting it on most of our clients and encouraging them to get out of their
Yeah.
little boxes, be a bit more adventurous. And there's not been an instance when I've pushed a client and they've taken the sort of leap of faith in you. There's not been one instance where they've been disappointed. They come back and gone, yes, yes. So that makes me happy.
Mhm.
And then as I grew and formed a team, I realized that I loved having a team. I absolutely love having a team and working closely with, all of them at different stages in processes and all that, and
Yeah.
working all that out, how it should work so that we're at our most efficient and everyone's doing what they really love to be doing. I've
Mhm.
I've loved working that out.
Yeah. I know and knowing you, as long as I've known you, I can see why that was surprising to you because, you're not like overly animated unless a good song comes on.
Yes. There's a few songs that get me going. Yeah.
But you're just, you're more, I would say introverted than you are extroverted.
Yes.
And
No,
so
when I started, absolutely. Um, I think I've come out of my shell a little bit, but I'm still on the introvert side. Yeah.
yeah. So let's talk about the team because what I loved about your journey that I think is such a good example for other people is you did the more uncomfortable thing number one, you started building a team way sooner than most people. And number two, you had the courage, I think, to jump in with both feet by hiring people on a full-time basis as employees instead of as independent contractors. What was your thinking? And how did you,
Well,
you
as
know, wrap your head around the
yeah,
fears of doing that?
pre-COVID, pre-COVID, as we were growing, my wife joined the business, and then
Mhm.
we did take an IC at that point, and the
Yeah.
IC just didn't work out in at all. So, you know, a bad first experience, it just tarnishes your beliefs in that. So next time around, which was well, COVID happened, my wife went back to work, at a proper job, which I shouldn't say because I have a really good proper job, but she went back
But
to
she
banks
she she
and,
brought the benefits home.
yeah, but, she had benefits, she had a good salary, so it just made sense during COVID because otherwise we'd have been in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
But coming out of COVID, I just I knew I wanted employees rather than ICs. Um, Probably mainly because of the not great experience with an IC to begin with, um, and just wanting to work closely on the business with someone else, not just have someone selling travel and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's the upside to having an employee is you have much more jurisdiction on the hours that they work, the messaging that they use, I mean, if they're an independent contractor and anyone who's listening to this is so important to understand. You have very little say on what an independent contractor does and says and where they work and how they work. And so it's just a lot of risk for your business and for your brand to only bring on ICs and build the whole team all with ICs. Let's unpack it a little bit more because I am of the philosophy that you're never more clear on what you want than when you experience what you don't want. And so you said having that first experience of bringing on an IC and it not working out left a bad taste in your mouth. I say it gave you guys clarity or it gave you clarity.
Yeah.
So what is it that you got clarity on? What didn't work? You said it didn't work, but what really wasn't working?
Well, there were very low sales from the IC. Communication had got poor, I would say. We just weren't on the same page when it came to trips they were working on. I don't think I'm a control freak at all, but I just needed to I wanted a team that would work generally the way I work, like caring about every trip, just, using the best supplies,
Yeah.
the working out which hotels to to book. Are we boutique? I just wanted to have
Mhm.
all that as a philosophy for a
Yeah.
team. And then as you get more, I mean, not everyone is just it's not about selling travel when you get to a team and a high turnover, because we separated into, travel planners, operations, and, we have one person who's just website and social media. So it was one of them's on different hours. You can
Yeah.
pay them different rates depending on, seniority or that sort of thing. Just I'm just way happier with that way of building the team.
So what I'm hearing is the contrasting experience made you clear that you wanted to bring on people that were as passionate about or understood the brand, right? Understood what
Mm,
J5 Travel stands for and want to throw themselves into the work the way you do and have consistency in the service delivery, basically.
definitely. Yeah.
So when did you actually it wasn't until after the pandemic that you started to actually hire people as employees, right?
I'd hired Kendall. I had one about 4 weeks before COVID and
Oh, wow.
furloughed her 6 weeks later. And then, as it was after all the unwinding of the trips that were booked, sort of July, August, I was looking forward, and I thought, I was thinking that it's gonna go like this at some point. I
Yeah.
mean, I was over optimistic on the length of COVID for sure, but I knew when it finally finished, it would just go,
Mhm.
crazy, and it did. So I rehired Kendall in the October of 2020 still, even though we
Mm.
were still pretty much in the middle of it all.
Yeah.
The timeline then on hiring the next ones, I'm not gonna remember exactly, but Shanna was next, probably only a few months later. Kenese was before Shanna. So Kenese was purely for cruises.
Yep.
Um, and that was it. What was that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. We got to 8. We did get to
Wow.
8 in 2023. 22 had been great, which was sort of the first full year after COVID. And I was like, this will be great. And 23 came along, and 23 was not a great year. We were up a small, so hiring a couple that year was not great. One left of her own accord in 2024, and another was let go at the end of 24. And we've been at the same 6 people ever since, and it's just worked. For the last 18 months, it's been really good. It's just a tight-knit team. Our
Yeah.
efficiencies have got better and better, so we've handled almost 50% growth last year with 2 less staff, with no issues whatsoever, and no one feeling overworked. So we finally got
Found your
to that,
groove.
I wanna say perfect spot, but we got to a really
Yeah.
good spot.
But I think you already kinda answered my question of why it's working, and I think it's because you figured out how to divide and conquer and work as a team as opposed to 'cause I know a lot of travel advisors that build a team, even people who have, like, a partnership, they really are 2 people working side by side, and they're not taking advantage of synchronicity, working in unison. So, tell us how you break down the responsibilities.
Yeah, I mean, it's slightly complicated, but the core of it is there will always be 2 people working on any one trip.
Wow.
That may mean 90% of the other, but there's always 2 involved, and that has meant that nothing gets missed. I don't think we've missed anything for a couple of years now. We break it down with 3 main travel planners, which is still myself, Kendall, and Shanna. We have Kristin, who has some of her own clients, and so probably 25% of her work is on her own clients. The other 75% is operations. So she's back up mainly to Kendall and Italy trips, which is still our number one land seller. Geographically, I do all the weird stuff. Kendall does
Stop.
Italy.
What define weird?
Oh, probably like Eastern Europe, Southeast Asia, Australia, New Zealand, which unfortunately means I've been really, really busy for the last year because they've blown up. So,
Yeah,
but that's that. We have Sarah. Sarah without an H is cruises and operations, and then Sarah Reedy is social media
the
and
social media website.
website. Yeah,
So
um,
she's doing all your digital marketing,
yeah.
and yeah, this is a good question. So, you guys do a really good job. I give Sarah a lot of credit. There are sometimes that you have posts and I'm just like, "Oh, it's so well done." One of my favorite things that you guys do marketing-wise on a regular basis is the just booked
Hmm.
post, where it's typically a reel, right? Or a story
I think so.
where
You're miles an hour.
it's more dynamic than a static post.
Yes.
So it'll be like a story and it'll say just booked and it'll give some glimpses of what you just booked for a client, which is absolutely real. And I've always felt that a marketing strategy for a luxury travel advisor is to do something similar to what real estate agencies do, especially, you can go to Harris Teeter and pick up those magazines, the real estate magazine of what's listed. And, it's filled with pictures of like, multi-million dollar homes, the most expensive homes in whatever market you're in. And sometimes they'll say sold, sometimes it's just listed. But isn't that interesting that we don't do that as travel advisors? And that's what your post, this just booked, I think is synonymous to, is people love getting ideas from somebody else.
Yeah,
Ooh, look what someone just did. Oh, that's a good idea. We should think about doing that for our next vacation. So I think it's a really effective strategy. And so if anybody wants to follow J5, get some ideas. No, I'm definitely not giving people permission to steal your ideas, but I
oh,
just
well,
think it's a really good
and
strategy.
anyone should. That's not stealing an idea. I mean,
Yeah.
we grabbed that from someone else. There was someone else in GTN doing just books, and I was like,
Okay.
"Well, really like that idea." So no,
Yeah. Yeah, it's excellent. So, since we're talking about marketing, has marketing ever been a struggle for you?
I yes, I would say so, but
What kind of
personally, I'm
struggle?
not on top of it now because, the way AI and digital ads have gone, I've lost track of that. Luckily, I have someone on the team who hasn't lost track of that. For me personally, I did my I our the best thing we ever did was a month, 6 weeks into COVID was advertise on Facebook. We'd never advertised before, wanted to
Hmm.
build a list, and I did that campaign, and we went from 400 on the list to 1,500 on the list,
And
and
how long?
in about 3
Under a
months.
year?
Yeah,
Oh my goodness.
in about 3 months.
Wow.
Um, we're just about to do it again because our list has plateaued at about 2,000,
Mhm.
and we're about to tackle that again, but
And what
that'll
did you do Facebook ads of during that time?
oh, it was IFOs of, best of the best virtuoso hotels, and then some were country specific. There was one on luxury trains,
Okay.
also probably 5 or 6 different versions of different IFOs to build the list. Yeah.
I love that. Or freebies or free offers. Irresistible free offers, what IFO stands for. It sounds like, oh, you really tapped into Virtuoso too for the content. So it wasn't even like you spent a ton of time creating the content.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, what are we? 6 years later, the content is even easier to create now than it was then.
Yeah, for sure. Oh yeah. Especially with all of the help from AI.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, so that's really interesting. So that you did a little 3-month strategy of list building using Facebook ads to list build, and it was so effective. You haven't really been doing any kind of list building since then.
Not really, but not on the J5 side. I mean,
Yeah.
we do have our other sort of brand, which is World Cruise Advisors. That
Right.
that has been list building the whole way through
Okay.
since 20 end of 2019. Yeah.
And so because of that brand, it's built so successfully that you're now being recognized as the virtuoso cruise icon.
Well, selling 3 or 4 world
So
cruises a year does help a lot towards getting to icon status. Yes.
So you're now at the place where you're selling 3 or 4 world cruises a year. Took a while to get there. I
Mm.
remember when you set that goal for yourself to just sell 1. This
Yeah.
was long before the pandemic. And you created a whole brand for it, and you haven't abandoned it, so I love that.
We have
So
stuck with
clearly
it.
that
There were moments, but no, we've stuck with it.
tenacity is important, right?
Yes. Yeah, it is. Now that list is at around 3,000, and, I'm pretty confident that will slowly grow. 4 world cruises a year is pretty much $1 million sales. So,
Wow.
that was the target, and we've reached that, and,
Yeah.
I would think in a couple of years, we'll be doing 10 a year.
I love that, and congratulations, because I think one of the things that has been fun for me watching J5, go from an idea to what it is today is you are really good at the vision side of the business and just having the idea and just going after it and not even letting setbacks. You don't give up when there's a setback.
No,
So,
it gets me going even more, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. You dig in further. We're gonna
Yeah.
make this happen.
It's not that I don't give up on some things. I mean, pickleball, no, I've given up.
But the focus on selling world cruises, you're now at the point where you're selling 3 or 4 world cruises a year, but you're also selling a lot of non-world cruises,
Oh, yeah.
correct? So that's driven a lot more cruise business than you ever would have done
Oh,
because
yeah.
have
A
you,
lot of
John, ever cruised?
I have, but really, I would say for the first time properly was
Yes.
just last summer. I mean, I've been on a GTN 3-day conference
Yeah,
cruise. That doesn't count.
it does.
I've done quite a few river cruises, which I love, but
Okay.
I wasn't keen on getting on a big ship. But last year, I sailed with Silversea, and my wife and I absolutely loved it.
Which ship did you do and where did you go?
Silver Dawn up and down Norway.
Oh, wow. Were we there at the same time? Was it summer?
Yeah, it was summer. It was July.
Yeah.
You
We did Iceland, Norway, and Europe last summer too, so we might have been in Norway at the same time. Yeah, so for someone who likes to do the weird stuff when it comes to travel, i.e. the path less traveled,
the more the more exotic is a better way
the
of
more
putting it.
exotic,
Yes. Yeah.
yeah. What did you think of cruising? What did you like? What surprised you?
I loved it. I absolutely loved it. The food was great. The ship was sold out, and yet it felt it felt so spacious and so almost
Empty.
empty. There were times we were up in the panorama. I don't know what it's called, the panoramic view with a
Mhm.
little bar there, but we're the only ones in there. It's like, where is everyone? We did some great excursions, which they surprised me. I did the toughest hike of my life on that trip. Uh,
Yeah,
I just, I don't know. I can, we'll be doing more. There's no question.
yeah. So yes, I love that experience because I think, one of the things that I've been digging into is the trends. Where is the trend going in travel? And it's very clear the trend is going in luxury. It's the high net worth and the ultra high net worth traveler that is really driving the travel industry right now. And
Yeah,
luxury travel consumption has grown so significantly since the pandemic, and experts predict it's only going to continue to grow. Last year, just over 50% of US travel sales came from households earning $100,000 or more. So it's the high earners that are spending their money on travel, partially because they're benefiting from two different positive economic trends. Number one, a healthy stock market, a rising stock market, rising real estate values. Their portfolios are worth a whole lot more. And the other trend is this transfer of wealth. Trillions of dollars are going to be transferring from the baby boomer as well as the silent generation down to our generation as well as the millennials. And I know my generation, we're Gen X, and then the millennials, our spending behavior is very, very different than our parents.
yeah,
And so our parents were savers, but now the people who are on the receiving end of the transfer of wealth are much more likely to be spending on things like travel. And so, and what's really cool that I think is it's not just, travel agencies believing that this is happening and travel advisors like you really following that trend. It's our partners, and a lot of them are being publicly traded on the stock market. So they have to be incredibly careful and they have to do an enormous amount of research. So when they're betting on something, you know that they've done their research and there's a pretty solid chance that they're betting. And from hotels to airlines to Delta is saying that the revenue from premium seats is going to exceed the revenue from economy class seats in 2026.
Yeah, I can believe that. Yeah. I feel
And
it most in with the cruise lines, with,
yeah,
the small ship
yeah,
luxury cruise lines. They're just there's
yes,
more and more and more, Four Seasons,
more and
Ritz
more of
Carlton,
them.
Four Seasons, Oman, I believe, Orient
Orient
Express.
Express. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so they're creating a cruising product aimed specifically at that high net worth and ultra high net worth, and there's an enormous amount of capital investment going into that. So, like I said, I think they're pretty confident that this spending behavior is only gonna continue. So, what's really cool to me, and I wanna get your experience on this, is as an observer of this, the financial upside for the travel advisor has grown so much in the last 4 years. It's beyond anything I've ever seen before and in 25 years of in this industry. For example, our top earners, our top producer club, which is our top 45 agencies, the average commission earned has almost quadrupled in the last 4 years. So it's gone from just under $100,000 a year, average commission earned per agency in a year, has gone from just under $100,000, so not quite six figures. In 2025, the average commission earned for our top 45 agencies at GTN was $356,000. Now that's a total revenue number that doesn't account for any operating expenses. But to see that growth quadruple, I mean, we're not just talking about 25% increase. We are talking about 4 times as much financial upside. For me, I see this as now let's take this opportunity and bring it to people who would never have considered this profession before. Hey, Travel Business Unpacked listeners, Meredith Calloway here. If you're enjoying the podcast, I've got something else I think you'll love. The book, The Seven Figure Travel Entrepreneur, is officially out now. It's all about building a business that's intentional, profitable, and actually sustainable, and leads to six-figure earnings. And I've made the entire first chapter free for you. It's my way of saying thank you for listening and being a part of this community as you build your luxury travel business. You can download it now at giftedtravelnetwork.com/book. Now, let's get back to the episode. Have you experienced that kind of trend in your own profitability?
Like, yes. Yes, but in a weird pattern, it was
Right.
horrible COVID. 23 was a great year. 24 was flat. 25, we then went up 50%, and, that's
Yeah.
hard to explain. I mean,
Yeah.
25, we were really well organized and all that, but, how do you increase
Well,
sales
you kind of
50%?
explained it already. You said you went down in teams. So that's, really profitability is knowing how to grow your revenues faster than your expenses. And by going down two in team and doing more sales with fewer people.
Yeah, I mean, it was a big swing in profitability for us to a very healthy number last year. 2 less team, sales up 50%. That's quite a good combination. I do not wanna lose another 2 though.
Yeah.
It's this year, if we grow 10-15% with the team we've got, that will be great. That'll be good numbers.
Yeah. What you talked about, being down to in 24 and one of which you had to let go. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because I think one of the reasons why people don't want to hire is because they're so afraid of hiring the wrong person.
Yeah, I mean, I hired someone in 23, beginning of 23, and they lasted 3 hours.
I love this story. We give him so much trouble.
And,
It's so easy to poke fun at John. um, when we bring up the story. So yeah, so what happened there?
Well, he'd worked, oh, well, I know I won't name a name, but he'd worked for Google. He was gonna be like he wanted to sell travel, he'd love travel, wanted to take his kids traveling. He was overqualified, and I'm like, "You're overqualified," and he said, "I really want to do this, I really want to do this," and, and he had a great resume, so he came in, and we had the physical office at that point, and he was like, "Oh, this is great. It feels like family," or all that. And he sat down, he sat with me, sat with Kendall, sat with Shanna for like 45 minutes each. Then he got up. He said, "I'm just going to get my AirPods out the car," and he left and never came back.
You never came and you guys still have not been able to put a finger on who was it or what
He,
someone
he
said.
did. He sent me an email like 3 hours later from once he got home, I think. So he just said,
Yeah.
"Sorry, it just wasn't the right fit." That was it.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Okay, but that's the only poor employees experience I've had. I mean, because you go through, we had 200 applicants, and
Wow.
you end up picking someone who lasts 3 hours. It's not a great return on your time spent, but apart from that, it's been pretty good. You
So
just
when you
have
had to
to.
let someone go,
Yeah,
how did you handle that?
I don't find it easy, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, who would? But it was the right thing that, I can't go into the reasons, but
Did you follow
yeah,
the philosophy that I'd been taught, which is hire slowly and fire quickly?
I don't know. I might probably should have gone about 2 months earlier than I did.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we all fall into that. It's hard because, yeah, I mean, most of the time, it's not the person. It's just you
Yeah.
can tell that they're not right fit for the job and
Yes.
that
Yes, yes, yes.
and so you like the person
Mhm.
and you have to have this really hard conversation with them and but in the end, it's the best thing for that person too.
Yeah.
Like it's not kind to keep someone in a job that their skill set doesn't match. So that is what I'll never forget that advice from a business coach many, many years ago, which was hire slowly and fire quickly. Do I follow it? I'm not so sure, but probably could have done it sooner in my own cases. Hi, Travel Business Unpacked listeners. The travel industry has a problem that few people are talking about. There's a massive business education gap, and it's why so many advisors fall into the accidental hobbyist trap. At Gifted Travel Network, offering meaningful business education and guidance has been at the heart of what we do since day one. Travel Business University is how we're solving for it, and whether you're brand new to the industry, in building and growth mode, or already running a seven-figure business, TBU has a program and a community designed for exactly where you are. Visit giftedtravelnetwork.com or check out the link in the description to learn more and apply. I want to talk to one of the signature things that I think is so cool about J5 Travel, which is your team trips.
Mhm.
Talk to how did that idea come about and what is your vision for that and why do you do it and what comes out of it?
Well, firstly, anyone who works here has got to love to travel. I don't think you can be a really great seller of travel if you don't actually love it yourself, right?
Mhm.
That's a starting point. So then I just wanted the team to, you know, gel as much as possible whenever possible. We although we had an office, it was only 3 or 4 of us out of 8 who were there regularly. We now are totally remote. So, you have to meet up, at least twice a year, I would say, as a full team if possible. And there's no better way to do it than to make that a trip. I give my employees a travel allowance, so they barely have to pay for it, I would say, if at all. They can use that allowance on anything that's brand relevant through the year. It just means that we can get together on a trip. We just did Italy, but it was only 4 of the 6 of us, but that made sense. But we're next together in Vancouver in November, and that'll be all of us.
So is it about twice a year, or
Yeah,
is it
I'd
more
say it's
often?
about twice a year. One would be domestic, where it's just and that would be more of a proper meeting with, we'll do some stuff around it, and then the other one would be a trip, more like a what would be called a fam trip, I suppose, but just for our team. Yeah,
Yeah,
and sometimes we're paying quite a lot for that. Sometimes with one of our best suppliers, it's very low cost.
right. And so they have to use their travel allowance to pay their way on those trips.
It varies. It's
If there is travel allowance left.
it varies, but yes, generally speaking, yes. Flights can be different, but yeah,
Okay. I
yeah,
love that you give them a travel allowance. I think that is just so cool and generous. Like, it's such
yeah.
a good philosophy.
I think so, but I mean, also, I mean, my accountant said you can get away with this because it means it's sort of a tax-free benefit for them
Right.
because the travel we're doing can be written off.
Yeah, absolutely love it. So, if you were to give advice to someone who probably didn't consider this profession before, they're a very natural salesperson. They have a very similar passion for travel. They're well connected because, you know, they've had a successful career. They're surrounded by successful people, and they've really got that entrepreneurial spirit, and they're considering this path to become a luxury travel advisor. What tips or what guidance would you give that person? What advice would you give that person?
Of find the right host agency
I really was not teeing that up, I promise.
for sure. It's tricky because when I started out, I had no vision whatsoever of having a team. It's
Mhm.
just like I'm going to sell as much travel as I can. I think I
Yeah,
can make if I get to $1 million
yeah,
dollars in sales, I'll be making a salary that is good,
yeah.
which is good enough for us.
I think a lot of people think that way.
Yeah, so I think that's probably how most people get into it. Like, $1 million doesn't sound like too much in sales. I've got these contacts, so it's you've got to go for it like that. And then if you find you've you reach that target and you're loving it, then you have the decision to make. Am I comfortable with this? Do I want to go all the way and hire and make it a proper legitimate travel company, I would say.
Yeah,
That's the tricky decision, which is probably a year into after you started.
yeah, yeah.
And I wavered on that for quite a while, you know.
You did.
Yeah. And
You weren't sure you wanted to
yeah, I wasn't
grow
sure
more.
between 2017 and 2018. I
Mhm.
didn't not wasn't sure if I wanted to do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because there's something really nice about just being on your own
Mhm.
and not having to manage other people and
Yeah.
be the leader. So at GTN, you know this, John, we define entrepreneurial success as when you've achieved all three aspects, I think, which are freedom, fulfillment, and financial satisfaction. When I first was in corporate, I had financial satisfaction, but I had no freedom at all, and I had no fulfillment in what I was doing. And then when I left that for the first 5 years on my entrepreneurial journey, it flip-flopped. I had freedom and fulfillment, but no financial satisfaction. Are you at the point where you can say, "Yes, I've nailed all 3?"
Yes. Yes. I mean, but only really in the last couple of years, I
Right,
would say.
because
So
you
that's
spent so much time
long.
investing in your business,
Yeah.
reinvesting in the business. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So
Yep.
what is it where are you going from here?
Well, at the moment, we think we could probably cope with another 50% in growth in sales with the team we've got.
Wow, I love that.
Because of the efficiencies of the last few years, whether it's just us getting better plus AI and all that, it's just
Yeah. Your transaction size is going up.
yeah, yeah. There's that. So, I mean, if that occurred, that financially, that would be incredibly rewarding. So
Mhm.
that's a target. Beyond that, I'm probably not, but that might be up to my successor.
And I see. So is there a succession plan?
We're starting to talk about it. Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what do you give yourself? How many years?
5.
More 5 more years?
Yeah.
We'll check back in 3, and then it'll probably still be 5.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Exactly. I don't know if I believe you. All right, so we're at the very end of the episode, and, I've already asked you the favorite question that I ask everyone at the end, so let's take this one a little bit differently. What is on your radar or someplace that you've been recently? Maybe, I guess you could have said a luxury cruise. What has surprised you? Like, pleasantly surprised you? What is a destination or a hotel or a partner that has really taken you by surprise and you
Well,
want
I
more
had
people to
I had
experience?
over 2 weeks in Japan in end of January, February, and it was a absolutely amazing trip.
Mm.
I'd been to Japan before. I knew I loved it. The food, the culture, but it was just phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal.
Mm, yeah.
Can I tell you this quick story? 'Cause
Yeah.
it's this sums up Japan for me. So after this big Japan trip, I actually flew to Melbourne in Australia to see my brother. Anyway,
Mhm.
um, my flight back was back through Tokyo. So I'm back in Tokyo again. I'm at the airport. I board the plane. I've got a window seat in premium economy.
Ooh.
Yeah, I know. Well, I sucked it up in premium economy, and we pulled. The little truck reverses us from the gate, and we get out there, and then the captain comes on and says, "Sorry, we've got a minor technical issue. We're going to be here like 10 to 15 minutes. I'll be back on when we're about to move." Okay. And I look out the window and to the left, the truck that towed us is parked there, and there are 3 men standing next to it in a line like that, and they're just sort of looking. I'm like, "What are they looking at? Is there something wrong with the bottom of the plane or that sort of thing?" Um, anyway, 10 minutes later, captain comes on, "Problem solved, off we go." And so we start to pull away, and I look to the left. Those 3 men are still standing there, and as we start to move, they all bow and then wave until we're out of sight. And that is airport workers
Yeah.
caring about their job so much, about their role, and you get that
Yeah.
feeling in everyone you encounter in Japan has that pride in what they do, no matter what it
Yeah.
is. And, that really got me, and, that was one of the moments of the trip, which is a bit strange, but, it just meant a lot.
Yeah. I absolutely love that story. Oh my gosh. I've never been to Japan, so that makes me wanna go
Yeah.
because
They have a
you're right,
very
like,
different
that
philosophy on
that
life.
that simple little act just totally captures the whole spirit of
Yeah,
Japan
yeah.
and
Mhm.
why it's so hospitable and
Yes.
such a great country to visit, so love it. Fantastic way to end.
Okay,
Well,
good.
thank you, John. Thank you, cruise icon, virtuoso cruise icon, and, you know, one of our longest, most loyal agency members at Gifted Travel Network. Been an awesome conversation, and I hope those of you listening got something really good out of it, and we will see you on the next episode, everyone. Bye.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.